Hi there, I'm Estelle. Thank you so much for coming to your yoga mat to join me for practice today. Today's practice is going to be a 25-minute pick-me-up for your heart. So we'll do a lot of heart opening postures where we're opening our shoulders. Right now we're going through a really unprecedented time as a global community with the COVID-19 pandemic and the existing deep inequalities that are social, economic, and racial that have been exacerbated by the pandemic. So I think it's really important for us all to give ourselves some time to practice self-compassion and self-care in the midst of all of this pain. So thank you very much for coming to the mat to give yourself some time today. We are going to start on our backs in a supported fish pose. So you can use either a bolster or blocks, or a pillow if you don't have either of those things. Make sure that it's lining up with the bottom of your scapula so that your whole upper back is supported. And then you can put another block under your head if that feels comfortable so that your neck is supported. And you can leave your feet bent, or you can send them long on the mat. So as we get started today, let's just take one cleansing breath together. So breathe in, starting to fill your low belly, your mid belly, your chest, and all the way up to your collarbone. Pause at the top, and then let it go through your mouth. Just feel your shoulders draping down towards the floor, your back supported. If you feel any emotions in this position or in any yoga position, just know that that's normal. We hold things in our bodies, and sometimes when we open them up, they release. Try to give yourself the next 20 minutes just to be here, just to be present, and take all of the things that are going on in your head and just leave them to the side for 20 minutes. They'll still be waiting for you when you come back. Give yourself this 20 minutes just to take care of yourself. Start to lengthen your inhales and exhales to make them equal length. And we'll just take 5 breaths here. Coming out of fish pose, make sure you support your neck and your head as you come up. Move your blocks to the side, and we'll come into hands and knees for cat and cow. Make sure that your shoulders are right over your wrists and your knees are right under your hips. And on an inhale, lift your head, lift your heart, lift your hips. Stretch your abdominal muscles long. And on an exhale, round your back, tuck your chin to your chest, squeeze your stomach, your low back in. We'll take 2 more rounds of this. Coming into cow on inhale. And cat on the exhale, and just feel the back of your heart opening up. when you come into your cat pose. A lot of times we think that the heart is just in the front body, and we feel that coming forward into cow. We feel that lifting up towards the sky. But try to feel the other part of your heart, the other side of your heart, when you come into a nice, rounded cat. Come back into a neutral spine and just give yourself some sideway flexion, bending your spine the other direction. If it feels good, you can do a circle in one direction and then the other direction, just waking up your spine and all sides of your heart. And then pressing into the hands, making sure the middle finger is pointing to the top of the mat. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips, and come into downward facing dog. Make sure that the eyes of the elbow are facing forward, pushing back into your feet, letting your heels drop down towards the ground, sit bones up towards the sky, and spine nice and long. This is our first downward dog of the day, so feel free to pedal out your legs, to bend the knees if you need to, whatever you need to do to feel comfortable in this first downward dog of the day. Make sure your neck is nice and loose. You can swivel it, you can nod. And just take one breath here. On your next inhale, lift your right leg high, bring your knee to your nose, and step forward. Press into your right foot, ground your left heel into the ground, and come up to warrior one. So your left foot is at a 45-degree angle, your toes facing the top left corner of your mat. Your heels are both grounding into the ground. All 10 toes are grounding into the ground. Eyes of the elbows are right next to your ears. Spine is long. And just feel how that energy runs from the tips of your fingers all the way back to your left heel. Take one breath here. As you exhale, feel the shoulders sliding down, scapula moving down your back. Inhale, and on your exhale, take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Inhale, lift the chest, take a baby back bend here maybe, and hinge forward at the hips, coming into humble warrior. Left foot reaching back, right shoulder to right knee. Press the palms together and push the hands up towards the sky, not letting your shoulders round forward at all. Take a breath here. And on your inhale, lift through the crown of the head and come back up into warrior one. Straighten your front leg. You can bring your hands to the hips or behind your back in reverse prayer. Take an inhale, look up towards the sky, lift the heart, and then again hinge forward at the hips, coming into pyramid pose. So you can have your hands on your hips, you can have your hands on your thighs, on your shins, on blocks. Just try not to put it on your knee so you don't have weight on your knee. If you hyperextend your leg, make sure you get a little micro bend in that front leg. And just notice where your body is today on this side at this moment. Breathe into the back of the hamstring as it stretches long. Keep your spine extended, nice and long. Energy running from the crown of your head all the way out your tailbone. And breathe out here. On an inhale, use your core to lift up. Bend your front knee coming back into warrior one, and we'll take a vinyasa. So inhale, exhale, step back into plank pose. Inhale here, exhale into chaturanga, coming halfway down. You can also put your knees down on the floor. Lower the body down. Lift through the crown of your head, using your upper back to come into cobra. On the inhale, and tuck the toes, and on the exhale, come back into downward facing dog. Take one big breath here. On your next inhale, lift the left leg high, bring the knee to the nose, step down, press into the left foot, ground that right heel into the ground, and come up into warrior one. Feel both hips facing forward, the spine really long, the shoulders sliding down the back away from the ears, fingers lifting high. Inhale, and on an exhale, take your arms behind your back, interlace your fingers. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, hinge at the hips, come down into humble warrior. Make sure you keep pressing those hands together, lifting the palms up towards the sky so you get a nice shoulder stretch here. And then on an inhale, lift up, back into warrior one. Straighten the front legs, bring your hands to the hips, out to the side, back behind your back in reverse prayer. Inhale, lift your heart to the sky, and exhale, hinge forward. Spine really long. And feel how this side feels today. Maybe it feels different from the other side. A lot of times our different sides have different strengths and weaknesses. Just feel what it's like to be in this side on this day, at this moment in your body. Notice if it's different from the other side without judgments, just noticing. Finish your exhale here. Go a little deeper. And then an inhale. Use your core to lift up through the crown of your head. Bend the front knee, coming back into warrior one. Inhale. And exhale, coming down to plank. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down into chaturanga, halfway down. Flip the toes, coming onto the belly. Keep the elbows into the ribs as you lift into cobra. And on your exhale, push back into downward facing dog. One more breath here. Feeling like nice and long. Coming down to your knees. Come onto your seat. Give your knees a squeeze. Come into a seated forward fold with your legs nice and long. You can wiggle out your sit bones, make sure that they're on the ground. On an inhale, lift up. On an exhale, just like we did before, hinge forward at the hips. Your hands can rest on your thighs, on your shins. If you can reach your feet while keeping your spine really long, go ahead and do that. And make sure you don't sacrifice the length in your spine just to reach a certain spot on your foot. I can get much more extension, my hands on my knees and my spine nice and long, than I can reaching my toes and rounding my back. So wherever you are today, just notice that without judgment. Wherever you need to be today to keep your spine nice and long. One more breath here. And the exhale, come a little deeper. And then we'll take one inhale and exhale, rounding forward. Just to feel the difference in how that is in your back and stretching into a different part. And an inhale, come up. And we'll come back on our hips and come into boat pose. So knees at a 90-degree angle, feet off the floor, hands reaching forward, or you can straighten the legs. But keep your heart lifting forward. Keep your heart reaching for your toes. And here we're going to take 3 rounds of low boat to high boat. So bring your ankles and your shoulders to hover over the mat. And lift up again into boat. And lower down, coming to hover. And lift up again into boat. Keep your hands stretching long, keep your heart lifted. Last time. Lower to hover. And lift up into boat. One more breath here. I can feel my legs shaking a little. And come down. So we're going to stay in this position a little bit. Gives your legs a little bit of a squeeze quickly. Then coming back into our seat, bend the legs and take your big toe with your peace fingers. That's your first 2 fingers around your big toe. And then roll back and lift up your feet. We're coming into upward angle pose. So you can stay here if this is comfortable. If this is enough work to keep your balance and your spine long in this position, that's totally fine. If you want to go a little deeper, you can start to stretch your legs up, straight. Keep your heart lifted. Wherever you can go today is totally fine as long as you keep your heart lifted, your spine long. So if this feels good, if this feels enough, you can do that. Stay here, just breathe. If you want to go into the wide leg variation, just open your legs to the side. Keep your heart shining forward, lifting up to the sky. I actually find this variation a little bit easier because you have a wider center of gravity. Wherever you are, just take another deep breath. Heart lifting, crown of the head reaching towards the sky. If you fall, that's totally fine. That's part of the game. And then come back out of it the way we came. And putting your feet on the floor. Well done. That takes strength and balance and quite a bit of courage to get your feet up off the ground there. So we're going to take one more position before we come to savasana. We're just going to take a bridge to balance out all of the flexion in the spine there and the hips. So come down onto your back, feet hip distance apart, closer to your hips though. You can put your hands alongside the body, palms face down. When you're ready, ground your feet into the ground, all 4 corners of the foot, pushing into the ground, and lift your hips. If you'd like to take one last heart opener, you can roll onto the outside of your shoulders, bring your arms together for a chest extension. Keep the knees and the hips and the ankles all in line. Lift the hips a little higher, and just take 3 more breaths here. Keep the neck long so it doesn't get crunched. Last inhale, see if you can lift the hips a little higher. And float the hips down onto the ground. Squeeze your legs in. Give yourself a little hug. Rock side to side if that feels good. And then bring your feet back to the back down to the ground, mat distance apart. Your knees can roll in a bit. Arms can be out to the side or in goalposts. Just rock your knees to the right and look to the left. Feel the gentle twist in your spine. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can put the right foot on top of the left knee. Take a deep belly breath here. And let it go. Coming back to center. Take the knees to the left, look to the right. And bring the left foot to the top of the right knee. And take a deep belly breath. Letting it go. Come back to center. One last squeeze. Coming into a little ball, giving yourself a hug. And then let's take Shavasana. I like to let my hair out, really relax. Let your legs long on the mat, let your feet fall open. Hands by your side, palms facing up. And don't be afraid to take up space here. In the studio, a lot of times our mats are close together. We don't really have the opportunity, but here at home, you can take up as much space as you like. There are a lot of people in the world who the world would benefit from if they could take up some more space. Just relax through the body. Let your jaw relax. Relax the space between your eyebrows. And take one cleansing breath here, starting in the low belly, inhaling up to the ribs, all the way up to the collarbones. Hold it at the top for a second, and let it go through your mouth. And just return to the natural rhythm of your breath. Just notice what it feels like to be in your body right now. Notice what your heart feels. Whatever it feels, that's okay. If there's any uncomfortable feelings, know that feelings are temporary. Just breathe into that and acknowledge it. You don't need to judge it. You don't need to push it away. You can just acknowledge it as a temporary visitor and know that it'll leave at some point. And take another minute or two here in Shavasana. Just feeling whatever you feel. Noticing your breath. Start to bring back some movement to the fingers and the toes. Reawaken the body a bit. Roll the hips, the wrists, the ankles. Take one full body stretch. Roll onto your side. And just take a minute here to acknowledge the kindness that you've offered yourself by giving yourself this time just to be in your body, to practice, to take care of yourself. Appreciate all the amazing things your body does for you without judgment, as it is, and just thank it for everything it does. If you have noticed judgments coming up during practice today, offer yourself some self-compassion. Forgive yourself for those judgments. And just appreciate your body the way it is right now. When you're ready, press up. Come to a seated position. You can take a block underneath if that's comfortable. And we'll take one last breath together. So breathing in to the low belly, to the ribs, all the way up to the collarbone, pausing at the top, and let it go through the mouth. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me today. I hope as you go forward today, you can carry with you a sense of self-compassion and care for yourself and for everyone else around you. Thank you. Namaste.